This the Real Boss TV A15 back at it again with a little news you can use, you know what I'm saying, if you choose. Now today, of course, we're going to be talking about the cyber guru, John McAfee. And I don't know, this one was kind of, it's kind of strange to me because, of course, you're dealing with like a guru, somebody that's like very wealthy. And I know everybody know about the reports of him found dead in his cell, and they're saying that he like hung himself or whatever. But there's been like new things to the case, and also, condolences go to the family and all that. I did see like the family going through some things with that. Like I know it's sad to hear, especially when you reach a level of success like that, you know what I'm saying? And then you got stuff like the pandemic, like a lot of people feel like it didn't really matter, but it also did affect a lot of people. You know, it's a lot of depression and stuff going on, which I kind of want to do a whole story like a lot of discussion or something about that, man, because I do feel like it's a lot of that going on right now. And that's just something people don't want to talk about, but I think when you do talk about it, it definitely it helps somebody. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing wrong with helping somebody. Like I say, condolences go out to the family and all that. And like I say, yeah, it's a crazy story. To come to find out, like he was hiding out in something what they call like a ghost hotel with a Bitcoin farm and all that. But like I said, we gonna dive into that too, man. Like I say, man, if y'all support what I do, man, just any way you can show some love, man. Cash App, the Real Boss TV A15. It's the same as my YouTube channel name, just with a $sign. And the cash apps and all that doesn't matter. Like, as long as you like the video, man, just show some love and some respect. Cause, like I say, YouTubers do have to go through a lot, and we don't make as much money as you would like to believe. Like, the money and stuff comes in different ways. Like, it's not about just dropping videos, if you feel me. But we finna get right into that. So, like I say, his hideout was traced to like what they call a Spanish ghost hotel that was a Bitcoin farm. So, he was still getting to the money. And I guess he definitely was going through, a lot being in jail or whatever. But, the cybersecurity guru, he was found hanging in his jail cell this week. Had been hiding out for years in a Spanish what they want to call like a ghost hotel owned by, they said, Russian allegedly used it to run a secret Bitcoin farm, according to reports. You see what I'm saying? This is all according to reports. Now they say he was, paranoid. You know, always sending out messages that he was in numerous places across the globe, including Belarus and Norway. And there was a letter where he lied about being arrested for wearing a thong as a mask. So, like, you could tell there's definitely a lot of stuff going on with this guy. But it's just interesting to me because, he is a cyber guru. I mean, some people might not know about it, but I know a lot of people know who this guy is. And people were like, constantly saying, analyzing images and messages, tracing him to this mysterious hotel in Cambrils, Spanish, like Catalonia. I guess that's some Spanish place. And that was after his arrest. So it was like he was arrested last October. So he'd been in there for a while. And for some reason, he decided he hung himself. You know, Then they said there's a lot of things that had him tied to having stayed in the Ryder Park Hotel, you know, which is called a ghost hotel, where no one answers the phone and it is impossible to make reservations. Looks like a nice place, you know what I'm saying? Now, they had came under suspicion from the local officials after a huge laser pointing at the sky was built on the roof soon after it was brought by an unidentified Russian businessman. You know, a lot of it's gonna be a lot of rich people involved when you're dealing with somebody like that. When you call somebody a guru, man, that means they started something big. And it got raided by local police in like 2018, revealing a so-called Bitcoin farm that was working 24. You see what I'm saying? It was working like 24/7. That the outlet revealed. Officers reported found a set of computers in the basement and garages to Sicily, like mining the internet to solve computer problems in exchange for a fee of Bitcoin paper. So he was still doing his thing. And a lot of people saying like his Twitter pages were removed and all that, and they were like, trying their hardest to cover up whatever was going on. I'm not sure. Now, the tweets included like photos on beaches and balconies matching the Google Maps images of the place. So that's how they kind of traced him. See, people don't understand this internet, man. It's like it knows everything about you. Like you can't even like do anything. Like you go to like you can pretend like you in the Bahamas, but they'll find out you really just like down the street. And then it showed them being like surrounded by a lot of Spanish products and pigs. They claim they have been taking more, but they said it's not clear like what he was charged at the time or attempts were made to shut down the operation. But even though with all the security, people like I said, had their Twitter pages removed, and they found McAfee through a series of slip ups. Basically, they're saying like he was slipping up, he was doing too much posting and stuff. Like I say, he was doing it on beaches, balconies, and all that, and they traced it. Like people traced it, and they found out like what was going on. And they say he eventually confessed that that's where he was. you know, but he had actually been there for like 7 months before the arrest on a slew of tax evasion charges. So that's basically what they got him on, is tax evasion, and possibly there for years. And he said he often goes there, so it seemed like it was based, as like a normal thing that's going on now. He had just been ordered to be extradited to the U.S. when he was found hanged in his Barcelona jail, and his wife had hinted online that if he was found dead, that way it would not be suicide. But they're claiming it is. Well, the authorities have already insisted that there appears to be no foul play. Now, some of the charges he was facing included like the pump and dump scheme involving cryptocurrency, that he was touting on social media, and accomplice that was with him with Bitcoin investors out of some like 13 million in a couple of schemes, including where they brought up large quantities of altcoin and then, inflated the price. you know, they sold off the cryptocurrency, made about 2 million, you know what I'm saying? And he was facing like 30 years in jail, convicted of the charges against him. So, that's like that's tough for anybody, man. like I say, they were saying that he was, impossible to reach and everything, and it's like, I don't know, man. That that just lets you know, like, even having money, you know what I'm saying? Like, so they're saying like his net worth was 100 million, and they're saying something about he was a suspect of a murder to some alleged crypto pump and dumper. So they reportedly like stopped his company for 7.7 billion, and you would think that he was like a millionaire, like super billionaire, but it's saying that he wasn't. He had a large fortune at one point, but not in billions, but in 100 millions. Unfortunately, a lavish lifestyle depleted, his fortune at one point, or about 2010 when he was accused of murder. So he was accused of murder, and he was living a modest life on the islands of Belize. So how did his life go wrong? So they say he kind of started getting bored of his life, you know, being rich, and after he dumped his company, he went on a big shopping spree, purchased like 5-acre oceanfront mansion in Hawaii, a 10-person casino private jet, 157-acre ranch in Mexico that contained a 35-person movie theater, artwork, and dozens of luxury cars. He also poured 25 million of cash into building a 10,000 square foot, 280-acre estate in Colorado, which will be his primary base home. Wow. So basically, he started losing all of his properties, and they say he got down to like 4 million, which is a good amount of money. And he went to Belize where he started dating a younger girl, and he later was you know he was a prime suspect in the murder of a fellow uh, dude named Gregory Fall, who was one of his neighbors out there. And of course, he professed his innocence when reached out by cell phone. He claimed that he was being set up by the Prime Minister of Police in Belize. See, when he's saying that's like big accusations, he said they've been trying to get him for months to silence him, and he's not well liked out there. So yeah, they finally fled to Guatemala. And the vice photographer got to remove the photo's location info from the metadata. He was arrested out there for several weeks before being deported to the United States. He was free in 2019 till he went on the run again, and after learning he was about to be charged with the tax evasion. So it's like he'd been having so many things, going at him, and it's just. They said months later he was on the yacht with some friends where he was in Dominican Republic and got arrested. They were held for a couple of days. He was arrested in Spain. He failed to pay taxes on millions of alleged earnings. Yeah, day after the arrest, the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission filed a complaint, you know, that he earned 23 million in digital assets promoting, initial coin offerings. Then, March 5th, 2021, they indicted him, about the cryptocurrencies over Twitter. Yeah, saying that they were like secret investors and all that. And, through the, after all that, they said he could have faced 60 years behind bars. So, man. So, as you can see with this story, man, having money can be great, man. But it don't matter. Like, they coming and arrested this man on his yachts, everywhere he was at. And he got money to travel. So, they was really looking for him, getting arrested in the Dominican Republic, Guatemala, all that. And he had all that money, and then it dropped down to like 4 million. He had to come up with other ways to get that bread and stuff. And like I said, it's a tough story when you really think about it, man, because I feel like everybody wants to be some type of guru at some point or rich like that. But you never think about all the things that could come with it. Even though he made mistakes, you know, that money, man, it's just, like they say, more money, more problems, man. But as if this case, updates any further, then I might cover it. But like I say, they say he was hiding out in what they call a Spanish ghost hotel for a while, and posting pictures like he was somewhere else, but that he wasn't. But they caught up to him, and fortunately, he ended up hanging himself in prison. Condolences to the family, man. And like I say, man, like, share. If you want to, you can definitely hit the Cash App. It's the same as my channel, The Real Boss TV 815, with a $sign on it. And man, peace out, man. Y'all show love, man, and everybody stay positive. I'm out of here.